You know, I was actually, Mark, man, I was actually, this is good, man. And this goes for like all the chat, for the fighting game alumni players. And even if you don't, excuse me, partake in the fighting games, I would still like to know what you guys think. So, like, Kami, one of the FGC youngins, I like to say Kami, he's my little bro, swaggy dresser and the whole nine, you know. He spoke about wanting or waiting for Street Fighter 6, right? And I guess we got into the conversation, and this made me think about it. It was more the conversation of how long do we want like our fighting games to last? Like, why? How long is a proper length for a fighting game to last? And I feel like it's going to be different. It's definitely going to be different depending on who you ask, because I think it just depends when you actually entered the FGC world. Yeah, he talked about how he wished Street Fighter V was only 3 or 4 years. And I'm like, why would you want this game to not last long? Like, I don't understand that. But once again, that's why I'm asking the question, like, how long do you want your fighting game to last? Like, how long should you competitively, in like, even on the side of it, be playing a fighting game? We didn't have the option back in the day. It wasn't an obligation. It was just what our friends played. Exactly, right? Like, exactly. That's how I feel. I felt like we didn't have the space to just be like, yo, I'm only gonna play this game and I'm only gonna play this game. Not saying you shouldn't have options. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have options. I'm saying that it's a strange take, because honestly, like, even later on when I had things other than Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, right? Because I didn't even get to play Tekken until my later years, obviously, or at my will, because I went to arcades and stuff, but and like now, like, there's like a smorgasbord. Like, there's so many fighting games to play now. Like, there's so many different fighting games. Like, it's really like a second coming age of fighting games for me. Feel like, personally, like, from where I originally was, like, got involved in fighting games and where it is now, it's completely different. Yeah, now gaming as a service makes us spoiled. 100%. What's up with it, the Red Fox? Says, I still play Third Strike every weekend. The Red Fox says that. Depends which side you're asking. For me, I think for some people, they want to keep forever. Like, people still playing Third Strike or whatever. But for a company, I guess it depends how long they can or want to support it, or if they want to update it with new systems or just new stuff, how long it is. So Shinji X, I posed to you how things were done back in the day, right? Where and I guess I should just put it on the table comparatively, I should say, right? So back in the day, they didn't have the access to hot update these games, right? And that made it so you only got if you played that game, you would have to wait for it to either come to console or pop up in some arcade randomly. And for a lot of us, me being from the Midwest, that did not happen. So it was more about waiting for it to come to console, right? And that means we had to play every increment when it was updated on the console. My point is that, like, how long should this game last to where it's like timeless, where you keep playing it. Peru's still playing Tag 1. I still have videos on Peru right now playing on the crazy box cabinet Tekken Tag machines. Like, outside, bro, it's crazy. 6 months? No. I meant like a lifespan. I meant a complete lifespan of a fighting game. Like, for how long we were playing Guilty Gear Slash or Reload before we updated to Slash. And before, how long should we play any given version of a game? Like, Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is the perfect example, right? So there should be an update, you think, every 6 months. We've gotten more spoiled about how we want our updates. I want new characters, etc. Whole Wings, I completely agree with that. I do feel like we've gotten spoiled. I feel like we've gotten spoiled with the fact that we have so many things to choose from. I feel like things are always being compared to what's on the other side and how it's done or whatever the case may be. And I said, like, it shouldn't or anything like that. But I feel like it makes it increasingly, it's not difficult, but complicated when, learning, committing to certain things. You think 5 years is good enough? Exactly. Right. I think 5 years is good enough. Personally, like, I'm one of those people, I feel like I want the games to be able to breathe more, because I want to see more of the creative side of these games, what the people who make these games, what they intend to show us. I don't want a game to die after 2 years. I do not want a game to die after 2 years. I want this game to be flushed out. And I think now that, like, the model of fighting games has it's shifted to this, like, the seasonal aspect, right? And we've seen it in, like, Tekken, and, like, the way that it was, like, adopted in Tekken, like, I actually really, really like it. And it's not just about the seasonal aspect of it, but how the way they tied the characters to the seasonal aspect. Not just like, hey, character season, but like, there's like, hey, we're giving you old characters, we're giving you new characters, and it was kind of like meshed in there. And Tekken 7, what had the most new characters of any Tekken game, like, ever, if I'm not mistaken. And it was still not just at the beginning of when the game initially came out. We got, like, new characters like 3 years in or 4 years in or something crazy like that. Ultra Street Fighter 4 wasn't even close to done. That shit has so much life left. Exactly. Like, and put like this, I don't even Street Fighter 4 like that, but, like, when I watched the game, it definitely had some of the best evolution of, like, game, like competitive high level play. Had some of the best. Like, I'm not, like, the biggest fan of the game, but had some of the best evolution of competitive, like, fighting gameplay ever. Like, no questions asked. Majin Obama made a good point. He was like, yo, you actually want your games to last this long. If you go play arcades, plenty of people still playing Ultra Street Fighter 4. That's true. Or Third Strike, double true. Having the floor to, or having the ground to be able to see and play these games in your own, capacity, like, that's the one thing I will miss about, like, arcades in general. It's like you can just go there, you can just go there and you can make that connection. There's only a certain amount of games that have the longevity to go past where they essentially end, right? And it's more about what happens afterwards. Because now I've seen it in many a game. I've played many a game where sometimes that community gets to a point where a lot of those players are going to taper off, right? A lot of those players taper off. They're not going to be in that same instance, right? Like, just like fighting games, they get updated. You know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes it's going to, like, go further out past that. But are a lot of those players going to come back? Sometimes, yeah, sometimes no. But the game has to change, because that audience is going to get smaller, and they need to bring in these newer players to, put it out there.